Hey guys, this is Patrick Hall with Fstoppers.com, and today we're in the studio with you and Neely. You gotta be like one of the hottest models here in Puerto Rico. Everybody wants to shoot with you. We're lucky to have her back in the Fstoppers studio, and today we're doing a super simple photo shoot with just 3 lights. This is something everybody needs to know how to do in the studio. Let me show you what we got going on. This video is sponsored by Exposure X5, but before we get into their software, let's talk about some of the details of this photo shoot. Now for this shoot, I want to be able to play around with the backdrop, and we have a lot of different colors of paper here, but what I have set up is the gray paper, and depending on how I light it, I can make it go pure white, I can make it go black, or I can keep it kind of in this gray tone. One thing I definitely want though is even lighting so that the backdrop needs as little retouching as possible. Now I have 2 B10s with 2 strip boxes. They're both at about 45-degree angles. They're hitting my backdrop in a nice even way so that I have no shadows. By having 2 lights instead of just 1, it's going to make my background nice and evenly lit. Now before we get you and Ely in here, I want to talk about my key light. I have set up another B10 right here on the side, and I have this set up with maybe a 1 foot by 18-inch softbox. This thing's really small. It's going to produce a nice soft light, but it's not so soft and large that it's casting light everywhere. I do want some of those shadows on the shadow side of our model. This is the perfect softbox for that. Now because we're working in a smaller studio here, I do have a grid on this. I don't want any of my light casting onto our backdrop and making that uneven. We already have that lit perfectly. The grid is just going to help keep all of the light just on our subject. Now at the moment, I have the camera set up to f8, which is going to give me a large depth of field. I'm at 1/200th of a second, which is going to knock out all of the light in the studio so that only our strobes are affecting our shot. And my ISO is set really low to 64. Now the files that you're going to see here in a minute, I've shot some of them vertically, I've shot some of them horizontally, but I've also been playing around with the density of my backdrop, and I can do that really easily by using the Air remote. Right now I'm set at power level 7, which is giving me kind of a medium gray. If I go up to level 9, I can make the backdrop go a little whiter. And if I drop it all the way down to level 4, I can make the backdrop go almost completely dark. This is really helpful as a studio photographer because if you want to get different densities in your backdrop, but you don't want to have to be fumbling with your lights, you can just control the 2 lights on your background and nothing changes up front with my key light. All right, so I think we got some really cool shots. We've done 2 outfit changes. Let's go to the computer and let's take a look at them. So here we are in the post-production office, and as I said, this video is sponsored by Exposure X. Now, Exposure X is a software I've been using, goodness, for maybe 10 years, but recently they dropped the alien skin name that you guys might be familiar with, and they've just released for the first time Exposure X5 literally a couple days ago. Of course, they also have a plugin for Photoshop, and that's what I've been using primarily my whole career, but they also have this standalone version. So if you don't rely on Adobe products, and you don't have, say, Lightroom, and you just want to use one software for all of your editing, all of your raw processing, and you want to do some of the cool film looks and some of the other tweaks that I'm going to show you, all in one piece of software, Exposure X might be for you. If you want to get a free trial of this, head to the link in the description below. But let me go ahead and open up the images we just took on this photo shoot and show you some of the tools that I might use to edit the final pictures. Now in Exposure X software, if I want to add a folder, I can just come up here and hit Add, New Collection. We'll give this a name. We'll call this You and Neely Shoot. Hit OK, and I'm going to hit Add Folder or Drive, and I'm just going to scroll here to Images for Exposure Video. And as you can see, it imported all of the images right here. This looks very similar to Lightroom, and if I click on any one of them, it pulls it up with all of the images down here on the bottom so that you can quickly go through and edit them. Now, as you'll notice, some of these images have a reflector added, and I didn't show that in the video. I really did that just for a few of these frames just to bring out some shadows. If we zoom in here, you can see it just adds this nice little bit of highlight here on the shadow side. For many of these images, I didn't use the reflector at all, and you'll see you just have a lot more shadow density, which could be cool if that's something you're wanting to go for. Now, the first thing I typically do with any photo shoot is I cull my images, and the way that I like to cull images is I like to rate them either 1 for reject, 3 for a potential image that I might like, and then 5 is the flagship images that I know I want to work on. And then sometimes I'll go back and I'll do the culling process a second time and see if any of those 3s need to be changed to 1s, or if any of those 3s really stand out and become 5s. So with the keypad here and the arrows, I'm just going to quickly go through and cull all of these images down. All right, for this photo shoot, that literally took, I don't know, 2 minutes to go through all of the images. And now that I've rated all of these images, you can see I had 42 total images. I can just hit 3, it knocks it down to 24 images. And then if I want to show you just the absolute best, I wound up only having 6 absolute keepers that I thought were stunning images. And while I'm in here, I just want to show you guys quickly the difference that little reflector makes. So having just a little reflector bouncing that light back opens up those shadows. I think both of these are usable images. I kind of like the darker image better. It looks a little more edgy, and that was kind of the vibe I was going for, especially with the one light. So let me go back to my 5-star images, and let's look at some of these. As you can see, I kept very few of the white backdrop. I think I like the darker vibe. That's what I wanted to go for initially. So we're probably going to work with some of these photos. Now you can see I didn't keep many of the images with the whiter background. I think I like the darker vibe. That was my initial idea going into this photo shoot. But let me take this one image that I really do like. I love her expression here. This looks super fashion forward. And let's see if we can just clean this up. Obviously, you can come up here to the crop tool, and I could rotate the crop and make this a vertical image, which was kind of the intention I had all along. And I could be kind of done with it. But let's say we want to keep this image and we want to get rid of this reflector, and we want to use more of this image maybe in a horizontal orientation. We can come up here to this clone tool. Let me drag this down so you can see it a little bit more. And I can just paint that entire area. Let's even get rid of the softbox. Let's see what kind of job this does. And if I scroll down here and use this, it does a pretty good job. And I probably have to do a second one and just repaint that out. And we can pull this down here. And let's go ahead and paint out some of this softbox as well. And then if I come up to my crop tool, maybe I want to do something like this. All right, so that did a pretty good job. Now to tighten this up, I might want to add a vignette. So let's come down here and we can have all these different presets. Some of these are a little much. You got the classic reverse vignette. I don't think anyone should ever use that. But let's do something like large lumps as a starting point. And then let's tone it down quite a bit. And if we turn this on and off, you can see it just brings all of the attention to her, and it makes it a little bit less about the gray background. I'm not going to spend too much time on this image because this wasn't one of my absolute favorites, even though I ranked it as 5. I just wanted to show you guys how easy it can be to remove distracting elements in your background just using the clone tool. Now this is probably my favorite image of the entire shoot. And as I started looking at this, I thought, you know what, I could clone out everything, all the softboxes, and make this just a seamless image. But I kind of like the behind the scenes feel to this. Of course, I could come into the crop tool here. I could change my crop to a vertical orientation, get rid of her legs, maybe do something like that. And this might be a safer, more traditional image. You probably would see this in a magazine or in some kind of catalog shoot. But I think I want to reset the crop and keep this as a wide image. Now I might want to rotate this a little bit just to get the bottom of that frame nice and straight. Something like that looks pretty good. Now the last few versions of exposure have allowed you to build layers, which can add different effects, and then you can brush them off as you need them. But one of the new features in Exposure X5 is they have the ability to make masks using luminosity, hue, and saturation. So let's try that now, and maybe we can isolate just her jean jacket and either saturate it more, or maybe we want to bring the saturation down so that the blues aren't quite as strong in this photograph. So up here I can hit the brush tool. That brings up my menu here, and I'm going to go down to saturation. What this does is it creates a new layer up here called saturation, and it's going to hide everything because my layer is black. If I come here and hit invert mask, if I scroll all the way down here, you can see they've bumped the saturation up to 50. But what's really cool about these new masking features is I can go here to hue, and if I use the little eyedropper, I can select only the blues, and you can see here what it's doing in this color wheel. It's allowing only the saturation layer to go through on the blues. And so if I come down here to my basic tool setting, I can either desaturate the blues, which is probably the direction I'd want to go, or you can increase the blues, which would really make this pop. I think I want to desaturate this by maybe, I don't know, let's do 22. Sometimes it can look a little too cheesy if you bump up the saturation, so I'm actually going to decrease the saturation. and it's gonna make those blues just pop a little bit less. So now that I've desaturated the blues in her jacket, let's just come down here to the main file. We'll just tweak this just a little bit. I think I want to pull the shadows up just a bit. I also feel like these blacks are crushed just a little too much. If I pull the blacks up too far, you lose all the contrast, but I think there's a happy medium here somewhere. You got to keep in mind, sometimes our monitors, they make blacks super black, but then if you send this off to print, it's just going to lose all detail. So sometimes I like to bring up my blacks just enough to get a little bit of detail in there. And the more that I look at this image, I think maybe it would be cool not to go all the way black and white. I don't think I want this a black and white image. But maybe if I take the saturation just down to 22, and bringing down the saturation just a little bit can give your image a look without having to do a whole lot. It's a trick I use all the time. All right, so now that we've played with the tone and the color a little bit in this image, let's go to what I think is the strongest part of this entire suite, and that is Exposure X's presets. This is what I've been using for 10 years, and I put this almost on every single image. It gives your final image a look. If you're trying to replicate a film look, especially a film stock, they have literally hundreds of different effects here. And what's really cool about this is in many cases, it might push your image in a direction you didn't otherwise think, and it starts to allow you to really open up the doors and the possibilities of what you can do with your final photographs, especially from a color grading standpoint. One of the newest presets that comes with Exposure X5 is the bright setting. And honestly, I think these presets would probably work better for a more airy image. I'm using an image that's very dark and moody, so I don't think bright is what I want to go to. One of my favorite ones, though, is the Color Films Polaroid. I found that I was using this quite a bit. And if you saw the last video that I just released with the tennis player shoot, I was using a lot of this 669 cyan in the shadows look. I don't know that this really works on this image, but I do find myself going back to this color look quite a bit. You can see some of these presets like Polachrome, it's adding a ton of noise. It's really degrading the image in my opinion, but degraded images is kind of a popular thing these days, and so if you want to make your images look like they are shot on something other than the most modern digital camera, this could be the way to go. Speaking of which, you can also add a lot of overlays to your images like this, where it adds all the scratches and the dust, some of the light leaks. I'm going to cover some of those in a minute on maybe a different image. I don't think this one really calls for anything like this. They also have some pretty cool bokeh effects here. This one's called Aperture Hearts, and you can see it's blurring everything but giving all of your out of focus areas kind of a heart shape. If I come down here to bokeh, it opens up this dialog where I can really fine tune this. I can move this around. Maybe I want to put this on my model right here. Again, not really a look I'm going for in this particular image, but this could be really cool if you shot with a lens that was wide open and you wanted to manipulate the bokeh even more. It would probably look a lot more realistic. Remember, I shot this image at f8, so everything's nice and focused. You'd never really get this effect in the studio, but when I see a lot of images on Instagram and a lot of photographers that want to give that cool bokeh look where there's different shapes in the blurred out backgrounds, Aperture has a solution for that as well. What's really nice about all of these presets is that you can adjust all of them over here on the right hand side. So if I think the bokeh is a little too much, I can just turn that off here. But this means I can also come in here and add all of the overlays and effects that these presets are doing manually. One that I like to use a lot is overlays. And if I come here, you can add borders to your images. You can also add textures to your image. But my favorite is the lighting effect. Now, most of these are pretty extreme, but when you need one, they can be pretty cool. And check this out. What it does is it allows you to move this around. And maybe I want this to come off to the side. And then using opacity, I can just decrease this just a little bit. Now, in this image, this lighting effect is bringing out some of the detail in my background, so I don't want that. Let me see what else we have here. Check out Earthy Haze. This is kind of interesting. If I take this opacity down, it's kind of a cool effect, and you can also see it's adding a lot of tones. So to get all these nice brown tones in my background and to get this nice flare on her hair, I honestly don't know how I would really even create that in Photoshop. I'd probably spend a long time doing it. This is amazing because you can just go through all of these and find something that's really cool. If I come up here to corner, they have these film burns, which are pretty cool. You can see I can just go through all of these different film burns. What's great about this tool is you can fine tune this as much as you want. Now, where these lighting effects might be most useful is actually in the shoot that I just released on Fstoppers, where we did the sporty tennis player with all the light and the lens flares. Let me open one of those images and see what we can do. So here's one of the images from that last photo shoot that I referenced. This has a lot more color and it's a lot more dynamic. So I think an image like this might work better than the previous images that were much more clean since they were shot in the studio with just one simple white light. So if I come to lighting effect here, and maybe I want to go to sun flares. This is what I was playing around with in that previous video. This pale haze, I mean, that has a really cool commercial look. This changes the vibe of the image entirely. If I want to come down here to sun flare, I mean, they have so many cool ones. Look at Dazzle Gold. That looks really interesting. I think the magenta color is a little off for this, but if you had a photograph that you took with really warm light, I think that would look great. Dazzle Silver, maybe this makes a little bit more sense. We can also tone this down a little bit. You could go really, really subtle with this and just have it to where it's kind of something in the background. It looks kind of interesting. I really love these lighting effects, and I think the key to this is to use them very subtly. But it's nice knowing that they have hundreds of these different effects built into the software. If I come down here to lo-fi effects, there's one that really stands out to me. It's called Fuji NPS 60. This filter just adds all these like wispy scratches that don't necessarily register, to me at least, as scratches. This doesn't necessarily look like old film. It almost just looks like an effect that could really work well with an edgy, sporty image like this. So I think this is really cool. Another one that stands out to me is this Kodak Gold Diana F. This adds the border around the image, which, give or take, I don't necessarily need that. I can actually come up here and turn off the border. But it adds this film burn, which in this type of image looks really cool. Maybe using the brush, I could just paint a little bit of this off of her arm so that her arm is in front of that light leak. I think that looks pretty cool. And I could duplicate the layer, and then I could move the light leak to the other side, which looks pretty cool as well. Maybe I just want to add some more variation by zooming it out a little bit more so that it doesn't look like it's exactly the same. And maybe even turn down the opacity just a little bit. And I mean, you could really come up with your own photo shoot concept just using the lighting effects, which is really, really neat. So the possibilities with Exposure X5 really are limitless, and I have to say, having used this software for 10 years now, there's been many cases where I'll go back to an old image and I'll re-edit it in Exposure, or I'll take an image that's just kind of a boring shot that's in the studio that's well lit, and just by going through some of the presets, I'll find something that completely inspires me. And like this image we have on the screen right now, maybe it causes me to do a photo shoot that really exploits some of these lighting effects and create some cool art. So I have to say, even if you're not looking for an all-in-one suite to do all of your raw processing, you might still want the plugin for Photoshop just to kind of give you that final look that's going to bring your image all together. All that being said, if you're looking for an alternative to something like Lightroom and you want to be able to do all of your raw processing all in one app and batch everything out across different images and have all these presets built into one platform, Exposure X5 could be perfect for you. Head over to the link in the description below because you can download the software, you can try it for free, and if it's something that you really like, who knows, maybe this is going to change your workflow entirely. If you enjoy free daily content, make sure you head to fstoppers.com. If you want more videos like this, definitely subscribe to our channel below. And if you want to check out some of our full-length tutorials, head over to fstoppers.com/store, where we have full tutorials on all genres of photography from some of the best photographers in the world.